Long ago, in the ancient kingdom of Kongo, Africa, a young slave boy named Pappy tirelessly sliced away at the sodden mines by his master's home, praying for a sliver of copper or a sparkle of white to shine through the dirt and give him an excuse to rest for the night. Kongo had an abundant supply of copper, diamonds, cobalt, cadmium, uranium, tin, silver, gold, and coltan, which his master, Emmanuel Ezekui, lusted after day. Every night, Emmanuel would place a meager bowl of cassava, rice, and corn under his straw roof, where Pappy would lie huddled against the mud walls, exhausted and shivering, wearing nothing but a few scraps of cloth. Each night he would implore Emmanuel to give him just one more piece of cloth, for he lived in the Kongo basin, where the rains came heavily. Although the temperatures mingled from 80 to 90 degrees, the air was cooled by the Zaire River, which was the largest river in Africa after the Nile. Mountains loomed overhead, and just nearby was the Rift Valley. Pappy's mother had once told him that cloth was plentiful in the kingdom of Kongo. Pappy gritted his teeth and entreated his master. "Your wife makes such beautiful cloth that she sells in the marketplace. Please, in return for all the mining I do for you, can't you spare me a piece?" Emmanuel would scowl and shake his head, grumbling that Pappy didn't collect nearly as many diamonds and copper as he should, and therefore he shouldn't be pampered with undeserved rewards. On the third week of Pappy's pleading for cloth, the master became so furious that he hurled a beautifully engraved pot that he had bought from the marketplace, as pottery was a very common art in Congolese culture, at poor Pappy. Ever since that day, Pappy has been hopelessly flat. Pappy grimaced as he chewed a grain of rice that contained not even an iota of salt, therefore leaving it flavorless. His mother, who cooked for the Falana family, also had once told him that Kongo had plenty of salt. "Goodness," Pappy thought to himself, "why does my master not share with me even a grain from his bottle when he has so much?" Finally he grew tired of this exhausting life. He was sick of trudging day after day back from the mines through the thick forests, where lizards, camelon snakes, and bonobos hid somewhere amidst the trees, eating happily and not paying a thought to mines. Kongo was full of these creatures, and at times, Pappy wished more than anything that he could be with them. One night, he made a decision that had been but a dream for many years. He decided to run away. Past the snakes, bonobos, and lizards he ran, the air humid from the Zaire River nearby, and the two river basins and numerous tributaries scattered across the plateaus. Up he ran through a series of plateaus, which were 2,000 to 5,000 feet elevated. His knees ached as he ran further north, rain pelting his shoulders. He had heard from his master that in northern Congo there was an average of 60 inches of rain, whereas there was only 50 inches back down south. Veering toward the eastern highlands, a white haze began to hover over Pappy as he crawled through the dry cold. He realized with a sudden shock that the temperature had dropped to about 65 degrees. "Oh," he cried, suddenly remembering something his mother had told him. "The Bangula current sucks away heat as you travel east. Please, let me be almost there." At last he reached a village that his mother had raved about for years. She had grown up there, and ever since he was 3 years old, Pappy had dreamed of returning to learn a ballet called the babongo. He had always been fascinated by the richness of Congo's culture that seemed to flourish the most in this little village. Instruments such as the bongwasa and the longombi had interested him as a child. He hoped to learn a little about the njimba as well, because his mother had learned this dance before being sold to slavery because her father was accused of crime. The babongo had always been his favorite, though. So I suppose this is where our story starts. Disguised as an upper-class babongo dancer, Pappy began his training. How Pappy managed to steal this outfit, I do not know. You better ask him.
I've always had my stealthy ways.
Besides the geography, Pappy had never been exposed to the religious beliefs, economy, government, or social structure of the kingdom that he lived in. In a village where he was actually, for once, respected, he entered a whole new world. That's when he met Christelle. What's that, Pappy?
Excuse me, I think I can take it from here.
All right, then.
Ah, finally. So, that's when I met Christelle, aka my true love. She was as beautiful as the sunset that sings me to sleep with its infinite beauty. Her hair was the color of the timber that fills this great kingdom. Her arms were soft, like the rubber that is so often sold here. When she spoke, her words were slurred together like the famous poet Antoine Rogers' poems and folk tales. Her breath smelled like the sweet, pungent Congolese medicines like quinine. Let's just say, I knew from the moment I set eyes on her that we were destined for one another. Here's what happened. In the year of 1526, I was dancing the babongo for King Alfonso I. It was right about the time when King Alfonso had sent a letter to the Portuguese king as a plea against slave trade. Simply by knowing what to say to King Alfonso and his men, I learned so much history about Congo's government. In the 1400s, Kongo unified many small chiefdoms and built a prosperous nation of farmers, potters, metalworkers, and weavers. Now that Kongo has a relationship with the Portuguese because of trade, we have adopted many European tactics and traditions. The Portuguese encourage us to live near their castles, and though they do have control over trade, they don't have control over the states. Us women weave on looms with raffia fibered from the trees encompassing the village, the smell of fish from fishermen's boats wafting through the air, houses made of mud and sticks dotting the grass beside us, sculptures and statues made from bark cloth propped up on tables in the marketplace, and small game hanging out to dry. We make our way to perform our dance that we've practiced for months now. And then I see her.
Here I am, so close to where King Alfonso I lives. Oh goodness, what would Mama say? And look at all these quaint little stands with pottery and wood carvings made from, what's that? Tree bark? I wish I could take a look over there. It looks like such an adorable village. Who are those people? But bongo dancers. Papa told me about those. I think I'll watch them. But where are they heading? Why, they're going to perform for King Alfonso I.
Ooh la la. Hello, beautiful lady.
Hi.
Come.
What? Ah, where are you taking me?
I want you to see me dancing, so you'll be impressed. You see, I think I'm in love.
Huh? Okay, I better go. I already know all about the babongo. I am from a very rich family, and I happen to already be very well educated, if you don't mind me saying no. I go to church every Sunday, and Papa says one of these days a few dancers might perform for us after the service.
Church?
Of course! Didn't you know that our great King Alfonso I is a convert to Christianity? He introduced this religion to the kingdom. It's now spreading rapidly across Congo. He's currently corresponding with a Roman Catholic Pope. Don't you go to church?
No. My mother believed in spirits. She used to pray to our ancestors before she was sold. Before she, died. She used to carry out all the traditions of prophetism and messianism, but somehow she was never really respected as other religious leaders are. All this time, I thought that spiritual elders and leaders were supposed to be at the top of Congo's social structure, but for some reason, Mama never really counted.
Oh, how sad. Your mama must not be very well educated.
Hey, now wait a minute. Who says you're so clever?
Faggot, and listen. Let me teach you a little something, dancer boy. This is the kingdom of Congo that lasted from the 1400s to the 1700s. In about 1400, the West African rainforest near the mouth of the Congo River was home to Congo. It had such a well-organized government, and there was a hereditary chief ruling each village. In the 1500s, Congo was divided into 6 provinces. The king or the governor of the province chose a hereditary chief. Mabanza was the capital. Royal-appointed leaders controlled the provinces, and leaders were at the top of the social pyramid. The development of a standardized written form of the Key Congo was an important factor in the emergence of Congo nationalism. The population of Congo was estimated at 6 million. It was later known as the Congo and the Congo Republic. The king, or man of Congo that they had, was Ndongo. He had political and religious power. He didn't use a standing army, so he needed a strong personality to keep the kingdom together.
Okay, I get it. Let me take you on a romantic stroll with me, across this kingdom of Congo whose history you know so much about.
No, thank you. Don't you know that the area of this kingdom is 2,345,409 square kilometers? Not to mention that only 3% of Congo is arable. Besides the rainforests, we'd be walking through arid desert. And beyond Congo, don't get me started. 9 countries border Congo, and their names are Angola, Zambia, Tanzania, Uganda, Burundi, Rwanda.
Okay, sorry. How about a lunch date? What would you like?
Well, there are so many choices here. The people of Congo plant cassava, bananas, corn, sweet potatoes, peanuts, beans, and taro. Some of their cash crops included coffee, cocoa, urina, bananas, and palm oil. Oh, and of course there's...
I'm not hungry. How about dancing with me?
People in Congo practiced dances, made sculptures and fabrics, and exchanged game and fish for grain and vegetables. You're cute and all, but dancers aren't at the top of the social structure in Congo. I admit that each clan or village has its own ways of determining social status, but still, they have little say in politics. Now, if you were a cheese child like me, you would be truly respected. Cheese's families are more educated about what would be best for the people of Congo anyhow. I don't suppose you know about the main ethnic groups are in Congo? No, I don't suppose you do. The Luba is located down south near Katanga and Kassa. The other is Luanda, where we are now. The main trade language is Lingala. However, I speak Swahili.
What about the slaves?
The slaves? The poor convicts or concubines who carry out the manual and domestic labor? Ew, why would I care about them?
They are the feet on which you stand on. Don't you know that slaves are, to this day, one of the things that bonds Portugal and Congo so strongly? Don't you know that King Alfonso I is currently fighting to stop slave trade between Portugal and Congo? Do you know how hard those slaves work and how little they are rewarded for their hard labor?
I never really thought about it that way. But how do you know so much about this?
School. So, what did Congo look like originally?
Congo was originally separate small states, but they blended together into larger states in the late 15th or early 16th century.
What about the Portuguese? When did they come into the picture?
Everything was perfect when Portuguese explorers came in 1483. Even then, Congo may have been nearly 300 years in existence. At first, the Portuguese and Congolese treated each other equally. The Portuguese taught the Congolese and educated them, providing some services, and they converted some Congolese to Christianity. In the early 1500s, the Portuguese enslaved many Congolese and used ships to transport tons of them continually to Portugal to work in their colonies. They also demanded spices and many other products.
Well, then what?
Then a dancer and a chief's daughter tell each other about it. That's it, silly.
I wish I could tell what is going to become of Congo, now that I know so much about it. Thanks.
Well, I don't usually believe this sort of thing, but one night while Papa and I were taking a walk, a fortune teller offered to tell us the fate of Congo. I was skeptical, but Papa, being a curious, playful kind of person, consented. The fortune teller says that in the near future, Congo will supply slaves to the Sao Tome plantations as well as other islands in the Gold Coast. She says that by the 1550s, though, it will be an unreliable source of slaves already. By now, I was more than simply cynical. She went on to say that less than 100 years after the Portuguese arrival, Congo will be overthrown and their old aristocracy will be wiped out. Apparently, there will be a civil war in Congo after the death of King Antonio I. In 1665, Portugal will invade Congo and kill the other king, Nzinga Mbemba, and other members of his family, ending the kingdom. By now, I was rolling my eyes amused, as if that could ever happen.
Oh, you never know.
Oh, yes, I always know everything. Thank you very much.
No, you don't. I need to tell you something. I am a runaway slave who knows what it's like to be at the very bottom of Congo's social structure. More importantly, I know that I would love it if you would dance with me.
Oh, Pappy!
I want you to know how ardently I admire and love you. Will you marry me?